How is everybody doing today? And welcome back to another Dark Souls 3 PvP build. I have for you here my first ever DS3 Sorcerer build. Now I have done them in DS2, had a lot of fun with them, always had a lot of success, so I figured why not try it out in DS3. Now I know in DS2 the casting and sorceries are usually a little bit faster and stronger, and it's harder to do that in games like DS1 or DS3, but that didn't stop me, and had a lot of fun and success with it. So let's break out the stat lineup here. SL155. This is the character I've been using for most of my builds, just because making a second character just takes way too long, and why not use up all the allocations on one character? And the key stats here are going to obviously be the intelligence. You want it at least 60 because that is one of the hard caps or the higher end caps for damage output for spells. So you're going to want to get that at least to 60. And then you come over to attunement. 30 attunement will give you 5 slots. It is the lowest number you need for 5 slots with what I'm got set up here. We're not using any attunement rings or anything like that, so that'll get you right up to 5, which is plenty in my opinion. Bigger at 40 just to give you a nice amount of health. And my strength and dex I had to bring up to 16 and 14 just so I could use some of the weapons that I'm using. Endurance, vitality, you know, you can kind of pick and choose. I just picked that amount because I thought, 29-30 endurance was enough to allow me to swing my greatsword without, getting tired after the first swing, and vitality just so I can hold the armor and the weapons. Nothing really special there. Now let's head over to the actual build. We're rocking the fabled Moonlight Greatsword +5. If you're playing Sorcerer build and you're not rocking this weapon, you're not actually a Sorcerer. So you gotta, okay? It's just a staple in Souls games. The sword's even in Bloodborne. I mean, that's got to tell you something, right? So, classic. It has a magic weapon art, and it also it hits pretty hard, just as hard as many other strength and dex greatswords. Earthiel Straight Sword +4. Now these two are only +4, not 5, because I didn't want to waste slabs on them. Obviously, to maximize damage, you take them to +5, but I have not done that. Do that if you'd like. I did this because this is a weapon that I really wanted +5. So, Earthiel Straight Sword is not magic, purely physical, but it has a cool frost-looking effect when you're holding it, and it also does a good amount of frost damage, and I thought it looked magical, so I thought I'd go with it, because there's not a ton of really good magic weapons to use, and it's very quick. It's a good finisher, chasing after people, doing quick slashes when they're trying to run away from you when they got a sliver of health, so that's why I went with that. Aquamarine Dagger. Now, this thing is kind of cool, and I'll show you in a little bit. But its skill set, that Crystal Blade, is basically a magic attack. As you can see, it does magic damage, and you can do some running attacks and using the weapon art, and it's really cool. Catches a lot of people off guard, and if you get an up-close look at the dagger, it actually has a really cool aesthetic to it. Now come over here. Again, like the Moonlight Greatsword, if you're not rocking a powerful staff, playing a sorcerer, you're not really a sorcerer. +10 Court Sorcerer Staff. You bring this bad boy up to +10 and you get that S scaling and intelligence, which makes your spells hit really hard. And again, the timeless, my two favorite things to always have on a build, the Ethereal Oak Shield, which 100% physical, restores your HP when equipped, very good. And the Simple Cestus or Kaistus, one of the best parry items in the game, infused with Simple, so when it's equipped it slowly restores your FP. Not a great amount, but why not, right? The only thing in the fashion that matters, usually fashion doesn't matter, but this build it does, is this Crown of Dusk. This headpiece here increases the damage your spells do, but in trade you take more damage from spells, which isn't really a big problem since we have a decent health pool, and yeah, we're using spells so we know how to dodge the spells, right? Other than that, Faram armor, Firewitch gauntlets, and Firewitch leggings, purely aesthetic. Thought they looked cool, and that's why I went with those. Now, rings also do matter down here. Chloranthy is the one that doesn't matter. You can kind of swap that out for whatever you want. Ring of Favor, whatever you'd like. Sage Ring, you need it because it increases your casting speed. Because in DS3 we have slow casting speed. We need this to increase it. This ain't DS2 anymore. You're not going to land many of your spells if you're not using this ring. And then, to stack these, we got the Bellowing Dragon Crest and the Young Dragon Ring. Both of them just boost sorceries. And again, it's all about making our spells hit hard. Coming down here, we split our flasks so that when we go into an arena, we end up with 4 and 3. Pretty good split. You could go 3, 4, either way, it doesn't really matter. And as always, chipping down people when they got no health. popping Tears of Denial with our throwing knives. So that is it for the build. One last thing here, I will show you our spells. Homing Crystal Soul Mass. You're always going to throw this up at the beginning to initiate the fight. You can do the old backstep technique so it doesn't fire prematurely. This thing hits really hard. I have hit people with this for 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 damage. So it's kind of nasty. Crystal Soul Spear, the big nuker, the big taker outer, if you will. This thing hits really hard, but it's hard to land, so you got to time it right. I usually try and combo it with this, so people will dodge this, and I throw this out quick. And I've caught people with it. Works well. Great Heavy Soul Arrow. Hits really hard and has a low FP cost, so that's why I went with this. And then our Soul and Farron Flash Swords. This, not that, but this right here. It's a slower moveset, but it hits harder than the Farron Flash Sword. So it's all about timing, getting used to your enemy, deciding which one to use. And then this thing, you can do running, like the running attacks katanas will do, that running slash. You can actually do that with this, so this is very good for chasing people down, or also just stun locking them and getting a bunch of damage. So that is our spell loadout. A few more things before we jump into some PvP. We're going to go through our spell lineup, and I'm going to show you the Aquamarine Dagger's weapon art. Homing Crystal Soul Mass is our first one up here. Throw it up at the beginning of every encounter, and you can do your little backstep, run at him, run, roll, whatever you want, and try and get it off. It does a lot of damage. It's probably the highest damage spell we have, I think. Not sure about the max damage on the Crystal Soul Spear, but I've had this thing hit for 500 to 900 damage. Works very well. Usually combo it with the Crystal Soul Spear. They'll go to roll to dodge the Homing Soul Mass. You throw a quick Crystal Soul Spear out there, and it gives them something else to dodge. I've had both of them hit, and that's pretty much it. If they both hit, this guy better have over 2,000 HP, because they hit very hard. Great Heavy Soul Arrow. We go with this over the regular Soul Arrow because they do almost the same damage, but for half the FP cost. So it's much more economical, if you will, to use the Great Heavy Soul Arrow, considering we only have 3 or 4 Ashen Flasks when we go in. Soul Greatsword, similar to DS2, wide sweeping. It's good for catching people in rolls. You can do it once or twice or 3 times. Combo it with your weapons. Very good, hits hard. And then the Farron Flash Sword is similar to a katana in that you can do a running slash attack with it, so it's very good for chasing down enemies to get that last bit of health off them. Or like a dagger, comboing really quickly to stun lock for a good amount of damage. So that is the spell lineup. Now let's take this guy over here real quick. You're going to want to two-hand it. And this does not use FP when you initiate it. But this is what it looks like to initiate it. Now I'm holding down L2 right now. If I let go, it will retract. And your guy will slow walk. Does this edgy looking slow walk here. But yeah, this is pretty much it. You can do R1. Uses FP. Or you can do R2. But I like to run. So you're basically just going to run and then hit L2. And it does like a nice poke, like a nice rapier poke. A lot of damage, actually. But yeah, that's the moveset. It's kind of unique. It's the DS3 Ring City DLC. You get this weapon in that DLC. So yeah, and as I said, it does have a cool look to it. You can see there on the side of my character. Well, that is going to wrap it up. Let's jump into some PvP now, and let's see this build in action. everybody, that is going to wrap up the video. Hope you did enjoy, and we will see you very soon with some more Dark Souls 3. Until then.